and kind of fun. But the events over there at the Ahern, and this is really shaping up to be kind of the event of the season so far. All the things that are happening, and the speakers are going to be just amazing. The movie, um, uh, Dark Horse, Jim Caviezel's latest movie. If you like Sound of Freedom, you'll love Dark Horse. We're doing the world premiere of that movie right here on Monday night. And unfortunately, the tickets are all sold out. I think we might have put up, I think we put up 20 middle of the night last night because we had um, kind of the way the website was set up. It people wouldn't see a response instantly, and so they think, "Oh, I didn't get my ticket," and they punch it again. So I think we had about 20 of those that we cleared off, but I think already 10 or 12 of those are already sold. So there might still be a couple of spots open, but they're not very many. And we have because of the fire code and everything else, it's not like we can stretch the number. We're the largest event of its type that's ever been held at the Ahern Hotel right now. So it's pretty epic. We got people flying in from all over the world for it. One group that I can't say anything about precisely this second, but very, very big deal. Former
But you're going to tease us like that? You can't tell us.
I can't, no, because security and like that. But a former president of a country is coming in with other people. The president's aware of that, and so we've got just an amazing thing. In fact, I have a dinner tomorrow night with the producers and director and Eduardo Bolsonaro, president of Brazil's son, Mr. President Bolsonaro, is in prison. They want just like they wanted to do to Trump. So the movie's very current, very close to this whole election thing here in America, and even things that are happening right now, just in the next few hours, over the next couple of days. June 14th is Flag Day. It also happens to be President Trump's birthday. And we have a number of people that are, in our zone who the president got to this week and said, I need you in D.C. For my birthday and for other stuff that's happening on Monday. So even our event out here is very timely with the news cycle of things that are going to be coming out, what Tulsi's doing before she leaves office and like that. So this is a pretty epic moment. And let me just say this, at a technical level, I've kind of compared the.
You froze.
To stupid internet. By the way, in these upper Trump floors, the problem is that all of the cell phone systems are designed to move kind of at ground level, and they're fairly focused. You have all these repeating towers. So we're so high up here at the Trump that the cell signals aren't tuned or aimed to hit upper floors like this. So I don't really get cell signals. It looks like I'm, out in the middle of Timbuktu. And so I use the Trump internet to communicate like on what we're on here. And it sometimes seems to get a little, whatever. Yeah. So it is what it is.
You're doing good now. You sound good. The picture looks great. It looks good.
Yeah. And normally, I'm on the city side, looking down the strip and like that. And they were going to put me in that side, but the sun is so intense and it can be kind of hot this time of year. And I says, nah, put me on the backside. I like to look at the mountains, like to look over at Nellis and some of that. So I thought I'd try something different this trip. And later on in this trip, I've got one of the presidential suites because I have meetings, and so we'll use that. But it's I always enjoy the Trump. So we're the highest Trump point members in the world.
I bet.
Someday, Jen and I'll go do something. We'll use some of those Trump points. I've not used them except on our honeymoon. So
For as much as you travel on, you should be getting points wherever you go.
we do actually. We Jen's on top of that. I traveled heavily, never even gave it a thought, but she's on top of that, and it is pretty amazing that if you're paying attention, you really can benefit a lot by watching those points like that. And of course, we travel pretty much exclusively. Very little time to do personal stuff. I visited my cars the other day for about an hour and a half, and that was my treat for the month. Patted them all on the noggin, and started up a couple, and checked batteries and left.
Wow, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
listen, I really tried to, next event that you have, I'll make it. I wasn't able to. I tried, but I have a business that I own here that I just couldn't get away from. So, but I will be tuning in for sure, listening to
Well, let me tell you something.
what.
This is only hours old.
Ah, okay.
So we're showing the movie Dark Horse here. It's the world premiere. I just got permission yesterday to show it here in Vegas again. I actually have something else that we're planning in the planning stages out in Nashville, and that will happen pretty soon. I don't plan stuff 8 9 months out. I plan stuff 2 months out.
Right.
This entire event here, from the day we decided to do it to the day that we completed the contract with the Ahern till now, um, was 9 weeks. And so it's almost unheard of to be able to pull off a major event like this. It's the largest event the Ahern's ever had of its type. To pull off an event like this in 9 weeks' time is literally just unheard of. But we have a very good relationship there. The management has been fantastic, and by the way, for Mr. Ahern, he has other businesses. The hotel is actually just it's you know mission of love or something. It's a very small portion of what he has to do, but it takes a bunch of his time, and we're very benefited as a community to have that available to us. But that said, the Ahern people have been fantastic. We did this on a dime. We actually had to reconfigure a portion of the hotel in order to accommodate this. I purchased a 22-foot wide by 12 and a half foot high LED screen, the latest version that just came out 3 months ago, the best in the world. And so that's what we're showing the movie on at the Ahern. And, so it's actually, even as one of the directors said, that picture on that system is better than what you get in a movie theater. And
Wow.
so it's because that's a projection system off a reflective screen is what you get at the movie theaters. This is an actual LED, highest resolution LED screen you can get. And you stand next to it. If you're about 3 feet out, you can't even see the pixels on it. It's that amazing. I was watching a display of an aquarium scene, and when I was looking at the different quality screens, and we got to this one, and it was just stunning because I'm pretty on the visuals and the audio visuals and data and like that. And this was just stunning. And so anyway, that's the screen we're using. It's world class. But I just got permission. We had previously reserved dates from September 10th to the September 13th. And we were looking at doing something to assist another group. And so that group is going to have their thing. I can't say the name this second because we haven't
You're
finalized
being
that
teased
portion of it.
today.
But it'll be somebody that everybody here recognizes. We just within what they wanted to do. that'll be within what we're doing. Anyway, we're going to show the movie Dark Horse and do the follow-up to this conference with a different set of speakers, ones that we could have used, wanted to use, couldn't fit everybody into this one, but within the context of let me back up a bit. So I've been categorizing this moment in time as a Category 2 level storm. You have multiple categories. We used to only go to a Cat 5. Now we go to a Cat 6, Category 6 storm. And so if we're in a Category 2 right now, really literally tomorrow, Flag Day,
You talk.
be in this move up into
Oh,
the definitive. Oh, am I glitching? Am I
you're
glitching?
good now. You were for 2 seconds.
Okay. Okay. So we're in a Cat 2 storm right now, literally tomorrow and the day after, when President Trump has asked all of these persons, specifically media people primarily, but a bunch of politicians, a bunch of agency heads within the administration, to all be in DC for something that he wants to announce, put out there Monday. And so a couple of people that we have here at this conference had to be there. They'll leave Monday night and be out here at the conference on Tuesday, and they'll miss the movie, unfortunately. So we're moving into this Category 3 stage, and fairly quickly over the remainder of the summer and into the fall, we move all the way up probably to a Category 6. It's going to be extremely tumultuous on a bunch of fronts, and it has to do with certain legal technicalities within this global infrastructure and this transition from this globalista and their mechanisms of control within the um, political banking systems, uh, elections, etc. Oh my gosh, who could be calling like that?
So this Cat 6 you're talking about is going to be political, financial, and what else?
Well, let me see if we got. Yes, we got it. Um,
Just so people kind of have an
it's
idea.
across the board. It's across the board,
Okay.
but there's specific legal triggers that have to be done, even within, for example, having a public spectacle like the UFC fights there on the White House lawn. Remember the president, after he did the Army's 250th anniversary last year,
Yes.
he then put two flags on the White House front lawn, kind of like Mount Suribachi, with the military there in the Second World War raising the flag, um, declaring and planting the flag in kind of a symbolic gesture. Having the USC fight right there on the White House South Lawn is symbolic to the world that we are, it's got levels, layers of symbolism tied to it that most would just dismiss as being grandiose and like that. But there is some legal technicalities within the way that the laws are wielded. Um, and most of them are the other team's stuff. It'd be like the devil himself saying, you got to do this, you got to follow that, and you've agreed to it. They were bullshit laws and agreements in the first place based on frauds. However, since you want to play that game, we'll play that game and go through the same types of symbolism to reverse these things and do it in a public spectacle, if you will. The fight's on. It's a fight. It's a cage fight on a global sense. Um, even the eight-sided stage on which it's held, eight's the number of the new day. So, I don't run my life by numbers and things like that in that sense. I don't let other people dictate it. However, for the purposes of breaking the spells, they want to play that game. Okay, we're going to break it right there in public. It's like at the end of World War II, General MacArthur stood on the deck of the USS Missouri, and the Japanese emperor had to present his sword. And then it was broken over MacArthur's knee right there on the deck of the battleship. There's certain symbolism that everybody gets to see. So, what's about to happen, even with this cage fight, UFC stuff on the White House lawn, is this public spectacle out to the world, even for their little clubs and secret handshake groups and all this other stuff. So there's a reason for that. Well, as the storm begins to move from where we are now, relatively, it's blustery, winds blowing, little clouds coming over, it's starting to get a little dark into the dark of night. We're moving to much greater intensity all of this next calendar year as we, like Gulliver, throw off the bonds that have been put on us as a people, not just here in America, but across the world. And so, with that in mind, we have secured the Ahern for not just the 2.5 days that we have this time, but for uh, uh, 3 full days plus an extra day for something else that I'll announce later. And that's going to be September 10th through the 13th. And so tickets for that will be available sometime later today. For 2 weeks, we're giving a discount. Now, 1 second. Let me see who's here. 1 second. Hold on.
You're a popular guy. Hang in there, everybody. I'm telling you, he's a busy guy.
No, we're we'll be free. Not for now.
Yes, I want to say hi to Rubber Duck is in the house. Everybody, he's in the chat over here on Rumble. Yes, Rubber Duck, I will ask him that if we get that opportunity. Go ahead, Juan.
All right. Sorry about that.
No,
Um,
you're good.
they were trying to make sure my room was clean, and
You have a
obviously,
doorbell, even.
yeah, yeah. We do love it here at the Trump, by the way. It was funny when we arrived uh, yesterday. Jen says we're home.
Oh my gosh,
So,
that's hilarious.
because we were over in Asia, and then we had some travel here domestically, and then got here. So actually, over the last, I think, 5 days, we probably flew, I don't know, probably about 12,000 miles, maybe a little more than that. So we've been traveling heavily. But anyway, the reason I wanted to mention this, so the conference that we've scheduled, we're selling tickets for 2 weeks till the end of June for $500 a ticket for that conference, and then it goes up to 600. It's a longer conference than the one that we have right now, but it'll have the same thing, all the meals covered like that, over at the Ahern. And then the material is going to develop so much over the next many weeks with what is going to happen in the country, that there's so much to talk about that we need
Yeah.
to bring people up to speed with.
Yep.
That's going to be a very important conference. So if you couldn't make this one, that one will be kind of a follow-on, but it'll be new and unique and like that. And so we sold this one out. Of all the hotels got sold out. It's just it's a done thing for this. What we're doing. Um, it'll be an epic thing. The reason I think,
Oh, did we lose you again?
oh my gosh,
Oh, there you're back. You're back.
right. It's like they have it on a cycle, 2 minutes and then glitch, 2 minutes then glitch. I'm going to tell the manager I'm going to go downstairs and stomp my feet. David.
So, so Juan, we know there is a lot of stuff coming up here in the coming days with Tulsi Gabbard going. I believe she's gonna. And I've been hearing you and Nino talk about going out with a bang, and then we've got Tina Peters. She's now, out. God bless her soul. And then this fraud we're seeing in California. That we're going to see Trump call for a national emergency. Can you kind of? I mean, if we're going to be by the end of summer at a Category 6, a lot has to transpire between now and then because that's only a few months away.
Well, we won't be in a category 6 by September.
Okay,
This is escalating. There's a lot of things that have to happen. And
agreed.
so within recapturing sovereignty for the American people, you have the honest vote, honest elections, our fall midterms. And, just as an example of California, supposedly they've passed a new tax thing for raising taxes another 0.5% to help with medical care for people. So for a sales tax. They're at 975 right now. So just shy of 10% of anything you buy, you got to pay additional, 10% tax, 9.75%. They're raising it by half cent to 10 and a quarter. And a lot of the question is, and you look at the way the vote's done, is that even an honest vote saying that Californians want to raise their taxes another 0.5% to cover those that aren't covered right now, the way the health insurance stuff is with what Trump's doing? I suspect that that's not valid. They're doing this. They do a vote, then after the election, the count keeps going and going. They're not even going to certify the vote that just happened Tuesday this week till July 10th. And the whole time up till then, they can keep adding, new ballots. We just found another box of ballots. I looked underneath, we pulled the refrigerator out from the wall and shazam, somehow ballots fell behind the refrigerator. Oh really? Yeah, so
Yeah.
you know they'll keep it going. Is there fraud going on in that? You look at the mayor's races and all the other primaries, and you just go, the governorship, like it just stinks to high heaven. So but going through this season all across the country with primaries and other types of votes, it's becoming so blatantly obvious that the systems are manipulated. Some of the stuff going on out, I saw South Carolina's stuff. Of course, a couple weeks ago we had Virginia, Texas. It'll be endemic around the country. And so the question is, what can you do about it? And think about it this way, within this audience, a lot of this is like so yesterday because they're already aware that there's some kind of a vote manipulation fraud and like that. But I've had several people. In fact, Jen had someone that got to her that's pretty close to her, and said the other day, "Hey, I have to apologize. 10 years ago, you told me about this and this and this with
Well, there you glitched.
the election, and uh, oh, there you go. It's on a schedule." Um, but this person told Jen, I have to apologize to you because I laughed at you. I actually thought you were kind of nuts 10 years ago when you were talking about this stuff. And now I totally see it. And you're right. You were right then. You're right now. And I just want you to know that, I see it now too. So it was a 10-year process going from kook nut fringe to mainstream accepted and an actual apology in writing from someone. I think that's going on more widely
Yep.
than we may at first realize. People that, you know, we're now the mainstream. We understand what's going on, but there's a whole component of our society that is just now bridging over and becoming totally aware and in agreement with us that there's something wrong with the system.
Right.
With that in mind, um, you have to have the consent of the governed for everything that happens. As more and more people fall into the category of agreeing, and then also agreeing that something has to be done to control and take back control of our country from those that are stealing it through election theft, and not just here, but across the world. That gives us license to dislodge some of these fraudulent systems. They're not going away on their own. They're not just going to keel over and yield ground. So there's a fight coming. That is the storm. The storm is arrests. The storm is correcting the electoral process, the vote process. The storm is taking control of the um, monetary mechanisms that control us, not just here in America, but across the world. And that's in some ways a multi year effort, but there's a pivot that is the main fight. And that's coming. And I think it happens all through this next year. Eight's the number of the new day. Even the octagon is representative of the new day within this fight symbology. And we're going to own our future, but it's not going to be without a fight. And throughout time, the history of our country, other societies around the world, if you wanted your freedom, if you wanted your sovereignty, and the devil who has usurped it through frauds isn't going to give it up without a fight. So fights on. And within that context, there will be lots of developments, lots of new things that happen. We've decided to come in September through that September 11th date, by the way, and uh, do this next conference. So if you weren't able to get to this one that's happening this week, you'll get another bite at the apple. And that one, even with what we've already got secured just in the last 24 hours, is going to be every bit of this one and more. So, like I said, for 2 weeks, we have tickets for that one that'll be available on the unauthorized .one ONE uh, website. You just scroll down the bottom, you'll see it, and they'll be there for $500. And then July 1st, they'll go up to $600. And so, and that'll, I'm sure, be a sellout also. So it'll be a longer. We provide all the meals, top drawer catering. Um, you know, if I was to charge what it actually cost, this
Yeah.
would have cost a lot more. Uh, uh, you know, uh,
Be more expensive.
yeah, I mean, I
Oh,
covered a bunch of stuff on this. I just did. The next one will probably end up having to do stuff too. But, you know, uh, for example, I had to go out and buy a very expensive six-figure screen for the movie. And it's the best in the world. And that'll be what we show the movie on here at the Ahern. And we'll use it again for this next one here in September. And by the way, this one here, we're live streaming it. If you can't make it, you're not excluded for free. We're not charging anything. And a lot of these people, they do a conference and then you got to pay, $20 or something to get the live stream. No, we're not doing that. It's for free. And
so where are you live
so
streaming it at for people that might be interested in watching?
everywhere. In fact, I'll
Everywhere.
send you a link
Okay.
because all of the podcasters that want to do it can link on and put it right there live on their stuff.
Oh, you sent
And
it to me last night. You sent it to
yeah,
me.
yeah. And so our people will hook you up if you want to live stream any portion of it. One of the things that we're doing, I can't show the movie Dark Horse on the live stream, obviously, because it's the world premiere and it's not in the theaters till later in the fall. But we will show the question and answer period afterwards. And because of what happened, what the president did, there's a surprise. If you watch the follow on, it'll be you might want to. It'll be late at night. It'll be like 10:30, 10 o'clock at night, but it'll probably be worth it. And it'll be recorded, so you can watch it later. It'll probably be a big deal. And there's then the rest of the conference will be available for free. People that can't make it, look, I know it's an expensive thing, travel around the country like that, but the conference itself will be live streamed. The Tuesday part of the conference is on the monetary stuff, the bond stuff, and like that, and then the Wednesday is on the election frauds all the way up into the evening, including the highly technical stuff with the very people that briefed the people in the White House and Tulsi's people on how the mechanics of the fraud are done.
Oh, you glitched.
Worth watching.
So real quick, for the audience, there's a lot of people out there. We're talking about what's to come and everything, and like you said, a lot needs to transpire. But I'm not about the doom and gloom or the fear mongering, but there are a lot of people putting out that fear out there, of what potentially is to come. And yeah, granted, I get it. We're going to see a lot of stuff happen. How, in your opinion, does that look like? You've heard people talk about the sleeper cells and all these kinds of things, and I have had people come to me in actual kind of concern about stuff like that, and I just tell my audience, stay out of the fear, no fear. But in my thought process, it looks like to me, Donald Trump, he is 1,000 steps ahead of everybody, and he would probably be ahead of a lot of this stuff if it's going to be that detrimental.
Well, President Trump has been very vocal numerous times, all the way back to his first term. We are going to protect the American people
Yes, he
and
has.
be very aggressive. Um, that said, the threats are huge.
Right.
We still have a very viable nuclear threat that's out there. If you remember all the drones that were
Yes.
flying around in the 2020 election or 2024 election season, and people were, it's Chinese, it's space aliens, it's whatever. No, it was our stuff, and they were creating a very complex, layered web of background radiation. There's a lot of natural radiation or um, industrial radiation that's out there that can mimic signatures, say from a bomb and like that. And so they created this very intricate web while looking for what's missing. And by the way, just to kind of help people along, when if you remember the general who was killed with this scooter bomb in Moscow uh, over a year and a half ago, he was a very important general within the Russian system. He was very close friends with President Putin going back to uh, youth. Personally trusted above most everybody else that was around him. Putin personally had assigned him to a project they were working on to track down some um, systems that were put together. Nuclear bombs have to be refreshed periodically on the trigger mechanisms. And there's a bunch of stuff that goes into it. It's very hard to build somebody else's trigger for somebody else's bomb. And so within the Russian system, uh, they had come to the conclusion that somebody had gone back and built new trigger mechanisms for certain devices, and that they had gotten loose. Well, you have stuff going back to Ukraine and like that were bombs that went missing. And all of a sudden, here's, it's one thing, you'll get a fizzle, it'll be a big explosion, but it's not um, a full on nuclear explosion in the way that we think of it. And, but with refreshed triggers, they're just as fresh as they were yesterday. The rest of the bomb is pretty functional, and so the question is, did those triggers reach it to the actual devices, and are we under some kind of a threat? And there's a couple different ones. It's not just one. Well, this general was trying to track where those materials went. It was Western intelligence agencies, supposedly Ukraine, but it had Western intelligence, including satellites, very sophisticated assistance to kill the general in that particular situation. And here's the one guy, he's on the other side, he's part of the bad guy team, etc. But Russia does not want one of these bombs from the Cold War, or several of them, going off. They were trying to track that stuff down. It's, rogue operation. And now the guy that knows the most, who's in the key position, bang, he gets killed. Well, who's that helping or protecting? And remember, we were looking everywhere to try and track down these, looking for nuclear signatures. We still have that same problem today. It hasn't been eliminated completely. So, you know, there's threats that are very real. It wouldn't be like a full-on nuclear exchange, but it could still, be a huge threat to wherever it could be at, some of all fears type thing. With that said, the president, the people in the right places, the people that invited the president to run before he even came into the presidency in 2017, are all working diligently to protect the American people and people across the world. And I was, we were out at the inauguration in January 20th, 2025. And while the president was still speaking in the inauguration stuff, 15 minutes after he, took the presidency, I was getting texts from military people that they had just gotten orders. Well, as it turned out, and I'd heard all the bullshit, from certain people that, there was going to be all sorts of retaliation, doors kicked in, the gangs were going to run roughshod over America, and they were going to, it was going to turn America into civil war and all this stuff because Trump had won and blah, blah, blah. That never actually fully materialized. And in fact, the people that got orders minutes after President Trump took office and then declared certain gangs as terrorist organizations, which then allowed for different types of legal encounters of as terrorist organizations. Those people that got those orders went out and began taking into custody top, leadership within gangs that were positioned in America. And then those people talked. Several of them went to Gitmo. By the way, you can go online and it's not unknown that they went to Gitmo. You can see them going through the doors in an orange jumpsuit. And then they were sent to other countries. But they gave us all sorts of information, and we were able to stop what they had planned against the American people all across the country to try to trigger some type of civil war or something. It didn't happen. And then just yesterday, the president sent something out on his Truth Social that we had just killed in a strike the head of Tren de Aragua, this very, very dangerous gang leader in a military attack, if you will. This is somebody who's already killed, many, 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 many people. And so we had a legal authorization within the Law of War Manual to go and take him out, and did. So the fight goes on. We're moving from, you know, kind of the smaller gang people to all the way up to the biggest here shortly. So, global East End like that. But I got something that just came up this second. Just bear with me for a second.
Oh no, you're good. I was just going to ask you how you're doing on time.
Give me just a second. I'll deal with this. I'll be right back to you.
Okay, sounds good. All right, everybody. He's going to come back. Mr. Warren, are you there? You want to chime in while we're waiting for Mr. Juan to come back? Are you there?
Well, he's got a lot of great information, doesn't he?
Yeah. I don't even have to ask the questions.
What's that?
I don't even have to ask the questions.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's how it is. I love that. I can just sit back and listen, just be one of the crowd. I kind of like that. He's filling in on some things that probably a lot of people have gone over, as far as things like people going down strategically that
Yes.
could cause some issues. It's something that a lot of people tried to cover over the years, that there were issues. There were things going on, but that a lot of things have been foiled.
But they got ahead of it. Yeah, they've been thwarted. So, everybody here in the audience and a lot of my audience out there, when you listen to the replay, a lot of this stuff that has been said, that fear mongering, right? Just stay out of the fear, everybody. I do believe, like Warren is saying and Juan is trying to tell us, a lot of this stuff has been, yeah, maybe that was their plan for us, but I believe, like I said, Donald Trump has been in front of it, a lot of it, majority of it, and a lot of it's been thwarted. So I wanted to ask that question because I know so many of you reach out to me and ask me about it, and I get it. You have family members that still aren't awake yet. They don't believe you. They don't want to listen to you. My suggestion to all of you, if you're in that kind of a situation, there's going to come a day, like Juan said, he used Jen as an example. A friend of hers had to apologize to her because now she believes what Jen said 10 years ago. They will come to you. And I do see that starting to happen. I am hearing it from my audience members reaching out to me saying, oh, my friend or my family member. So it is happening, everybody. So this, maybe don't talk about it to them, because eventually they will come to you guys. But go ahead, Juan. You're back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, you're good. Warren and I were just chit chatting.
Well, I'm eating a grape.
That's what you took a break for? I'm kidding.
No, I was close to the refrigerator. I thought, well, I'm gonna grab me a grape while I'm sitting here. If I didn't eat foraging a little bit through the day, I'd never get a chance. If people are with me, Jen was commenting last night. So I had 3 meals in boxes that I put in the fridge, barely eaten. Because while I was doing the meetings, we were having dinner, but I'm talking. I didn't get a chance to eat, so I bring it back. I'm gonna eat it
We're
later, and I never
talking
get to it.
shocker.
But anyway, the key thing I think people need to understand is we're going to be going through huge changes, including within the election stuff, which is where it really starts. If you have fraud in the money supply, fraud in the way the money is spent, it's because you get politicians and they get people within their circle of influence that go spend all sorts of money, tax people, come up with ideas for programs, etc. Their friends and buddies. If you don't want to get the
Retro.
I do people fraud the elections because then they get control over how the money gets spent. how the money gets acquired. It's a control thing. So the starting place is honest elections. In the course of getting back to honest elections, and what most people in this audience would agree with me on, for this thing with Jen, with this person that said what they said the other day, that was still probably unique. For most of the people that this audience is interacting with, they won't believe it's real, that change is coming, that's real, that's tangible, until they see the first arrests. And those arrests have to be of some major significance. We've had a number of bit part players, just like these gang leaders. Nobody's changing their mind much on that. The fraction of a percent is not going to fix the day. But as we get into especially political persons high up in the food chain, that's when it'll get real. It won't necessarily get real over, functionaries, other than some agency heads for many people. And but even that isn't the same as going after these very powerful political people, families like that. So the sequence is probably something like this. We'll see some Justice Department arrests over the remainder of the summer. Very high profile people to let everybody know we're coming. It'll look like it's going through the court system, the judges, that whole corrupt thing. It's a placeholder. They're going to get their bail and all sorts of things, and people will be whining and screaming it's not fair and blah, blah, blah. Relax. It's a process. As we get further into the fall, somewhere in here, I believe that the president is going to declare a national emergency within the category, the specific category of elections, and that the elections can't proceed as, they normally would, because they've been corrupted so far. And the proof is in these primaries, within what is there now. And for context, what Tulsi's going to release over the next several weeks, literally just 2 weeks, stuff that's even going to begin to come out over the next few days.
Yeah.
It's going to identify the foreign players and mechanisms in some measure involved in stealing specifically the 2020 election and stuff since. Super nummy grape. There's a drum. There you go.
Is that the special water, the healing water?
Yeah.
It better be. It's Trump.
But yeah, when people suffer from Trump derangement syndrome, TDS, this might actually help them. It could be curative.
Oh my gosh, that's the thing, man. People are
Oh
losing
my
their
gosh.
shit. Wild.
Or alternatively, like the Wicked Witch, they drink this stuff and they just melt away to nothing.
Yeah. It's the holy water.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I renounce you. But what will happen is that we're going to get information concerning precisely who stole these elections. The stuff that Tulsi's going to release is kind of a treasure trove, and then it'll be up to people like in this audience and others similar to sift through it, understand it, and then get it out within the national community and international community. Even events like what we're going to have this next week and the one in September are about helping the general population of Americana and other countries, but precisely here to understand with precision that the people that have been winning these elections have been doing so by fraud, corporate fraud, nation-state level frauds against America, precisely China, with a number of other countries assisting and cooperating, and then traders within our own system, where it reaches some type of crescendo. And if you remember, I had my team put together a proposed executive order for President Trump's 17-page order.
Yep.
It's been on his desk, and the attorneys have been looking at it. He's referenced it, talked about it. There's been numerous articles. That was well over a year ago that it was on the president's desk. But that executive order starts with the declaration of a national security emergency regarding elections. And the reason that's important, and I've said this before, but it bears repeating, you can't fix what's wrong with the election system within the court system, the state or federal legislative and Senate positions, the governors, or even, now you got to think about this for a second, or even the presidency. You cannot fix elections from any of those positions. The president is kind of the equivalent of the chief of police. He sits at the head of the justice system in America, that within the executive branch. But it's the chief of police operating out across America. The president actually has access. He can open his drawer and take out the other hat, which is the commander-in-chief.
Oh, you're glitching.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, you're good now.
All right. She said, crap, I was going to have another grape. Let me have a grape for energy.
I was going to say another grape.
I'll use the glitches to get my breakfast taken care of. But by the way, these are organic grapes, and they are so juicy and sweet. Oh my gosh. And they're cold. They're out of the fridge. Jen likes stuff at room temperature. Water, everything else. That is something mentally. I mean, I just, I need ice water. I like my cold. These are fresh out of the fridge. They're awesome. So anyway, the president has to take off his commander or his president hat, the police chief of America. The court systems, you can't get to justice at the Justice Department. The court systems are corrupted. The governors, even the presidency authority. President Trump signed an executive order. The most powerful thing that the president of the United States can do is an executive order.
Yep.
President Trump issued an executive order concerning elections March 25th of 2025. It was his 107th executive order of the current administration, signed at 1:07 in the afternoon. Golly. So anyway,
I love it.
But it gave 180 days to the clerks. There's about 2,500 counties, a little over 2,500 counties in America. So the county clerks, of which Tina Peters was a county clerk at Mesa, Colorado, and the governors of the states, the secretaries of state, everybody else that supervised elections, gave them 180 days to clean up the voter rolls. Should have been a pretty simple, straightforward thing, so that only people that could vote were American citizens, in good standing, no felonies, blah, 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 for the federal elections. Not one county in the country complied. It showed there was a couple that made a little junior league effort, but none of them sorted out. There's another helicopter coming through. It's like a assembly line. Anyway, not one county in the country got their voter rolls cleaned. Well, how are you going to have an election where you don't even know that, they got people that are 300 years old voting. Okay. It's biblical. Why? Because, when Christ was raised from the dead, it says, and many others also. Go check the scripture. When Christ was raised from the dead after the crucifixion, uh, 3 days later, he was raised from the dead. And the scripture says, and many others also. So last week, somebody buried grandma, and this week she's back in the kitchen cooking again. Are you serious? Can you imagine the turmoil? It's not just Christ was well, and here in America, God's country, we have people 300 years old and they raise from the dead on election day, go vote, and then go back in the grave, disappear again. It's crazy. Well, the president ordered that those voter rolls be cleaned up. Nothing happened. Um, an executive order from the presidency, the chief of the police, the authorities within that category are not enough, because if they remember, the president issued a pardon for Tina Peters, and the governor of Colorado and the policing systems, court systems in Colorado gave him the finger. No way.
Yeah.
And by the way, how come the governor released Tina there in Colorado? Did he suddenly just decide, gosh, I feel so bad about Tina, whatever? Are you kidding me? He
Yeah,
was
no.
as foaming at the mouth as ever. His own party, though, said, you can no longer receive any awards. You can't be present for awards. You're permanently ostracized from the Democratic Party. Okay, why did the governor of Colorado let Tina Peters? He didn't commute her, or didn't, pardon her from her sentence. He just commuted the sentence to time served plus parole. She's still on parole. They want to control every move of her life. Okay. There's a particular thing that I'm doing right now, and in order for her to, get on the private jets to do what we have to do to shuffle her around, I got to give every last piece of information to people in Colorado. They got to approve it. It's just, it's insane.
Wow.
So she's
I
not
was
free
going to
still.
ask. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to get in all the details, but the long and short of it is, um, uh, she needs to be in D.C. for something.
Right.
And meet with the president. So that'll happen here shortly. But we got to deal with them. It just goes to show that an executive order, an executive thing from the presidency, these guys don't care to recognize the states' rights and we're sovereign and everything else. Okay, well, we're in a different type of a national emergency. What Tulsi's going to release, and what we're going to learn in sifting through the information she's about to release, we will understand clearer and clearer and clearer out through the summer and into the fall that it was an attack on America, specifically by China, but with cooperation within global groups and other allies, and from foreign locations, and with treasonous, traitorous cooperation, assistance of American citizens and holders of high office in America to steal the vote. Because that's an attack, and within the law of war manual, international law, when you're attacked in this way, that's the equivalent of a WMD. It's the equivalent of a nuclear bomb, a chemical attack, a biological attack, because it has the ability to kill and destroy, to hijack control of the whole nation through a fraudulent vote. So, in that kind of a situation, the presidential powers are inadequate to the task. So, President Trump has to put on his commander in chief hat towards enemies, foreign and domestic, to protect America. And that's exactly what he's doing. And by the way, President Trump has now twice in public settings said, I was 45, 46, although I don't really want to take credit for that.
Yeah.
and 47. Now think about this: from a military setting, when he said that, and generals heard that, they were all giving this side eye to each other. Did I just hear him say that? Should we get the freaking net out? Should we get the freaking rubber suit out? Is he out of his mind? How could you be a general in the U.S. military and not know that he was still president with authorities and like that, or something else? I didn't get ready in. Nobody told me. What's he talking about? I was 46, although I don't want to take credit for it. Is Trump crazy? Does Trump suffer Trump derangement syndrome?
He's
Making
brilliant.
a statement like that. So then we turn around and say, but how could that be true? People in this audience will remember that I've said all the way along, even just after the vote in 2020 and through the beginning and all of the Biden administration, that Trump had not ceded the election to Biden. He
Yep.
never said, yeah, Biden won. Not once. He never conceded the election.
Right.
And then he never gave up nuclear authority or command. Now, I've said this in other audiences, but I just want to say it again to make sure there's no question within this audience. I was very clear, even in the minutes after the Mar-a-Lago raid, I said to audiences very precisely what they rated Mar-a-Lago for. They're looking for the biscuit. I had told audiences numerous times, even on Inauguration Day for Biden, Trump did not cede authority over nuclear command. Biden never received nuclear authority. Never. And so the biscuit is the card. It's bigger than a credit card, but it's a small card, can fit in the pocket, that has the response codes that include nuclear launches responses to an attack. Trump never conceded that, never gave up that authority. Biden never had the nuclear codes. And so he was not recognized within the very narrow area of nuclear command, which is NORAD, Cheyenne Mountain, that control authority. And so the fight has been over this last many years, all the way back to the beginning of the Trump administration, first one in 2017. Even the bugging of Trump that was done by Obama during the transition in 2016-17, which Admiral Rogers came and told Trump, you're being bugged inside your skiff. I've talked about that numerous times. At the top of the list, controlling all of that, is senior executive service, controlling players in the military, players in the various agencies, the agency heads, the politicians, the judges. So senior executive service has been literally the shadow government hijacking control of America and out into the world. So Trump never conceded those authorities. He retained nuclear authority during all of that. And he's told you very directly that what I told you was true. He was 46. He maintained that threat of authority over the biggest gun in the room, nuclear. Now, within that context, we were attacked, and there's more than one type of weapon of mass destruction, and a stolen election falls in the category of a weapon of mass destruction. And China wielded it with many friends. That's what Tulsi's going to be revealing, and it's going to be the talk of the town through the rest of the summer and into the fall. And how do we respond to this? Is it still a threat? Yes, it's a threat right now. That's what we're seeing in the primaries. Trump is going to have to declare a national security emergency, exactly as their 17-page executive order lays out, in order to capture control of the elections. he's going to have to visibly come out to the public as commander-in-chief. In the commander-in-chief role, even though some of the arrests, which are crucial, it's what the people within this audience and their friends and neighbors and everything else, till they see arrests of high-profile political figures, they won't think it's real. They'll think it's what breaks that illusion of power is the arrest. And then it's on. Because if you have the power to arrest some of these very powerful people, it means their system can't protect them anymore, that we have got control of it. That's what tomorrow, from a legalistic standpoint, seals the deal. There's a particular reason why it started really a year ago on Flag Day, but within these global legal mechanisms, it's all a fraud. It's the devil himself. But we're going to do the game to break their spells. Arrests are further. If we had a crack in the windshield tomorrow, by mid-fall, it'll be a full-on holes in the windshield of things coming out. And moving through those arrests and into pulling down these strongholds of election fraud, monetary fraud, etc., you're going to move out of this Cat 3 into the 4 or 5, and then within what has to happen to remove certain very dangerous mechanisms within the communication systems, you'll be in Cat 6 for a brief period of time. This is all going to be survivable. Everybody take a deep breath. It will be dramatic, but part of that is also for the unbelievers, for the people that never thought this could happen.
Right.
That it's happening. It's on. You're going to want to have some personal supplies to get through a couple of weeks, where there's going to be severe disruption. Your credit card isn't going to work. At the gas station, the pumps aren't going to work, and there's going to be all sorts of issues.
What
You
about
just
what about food and stuff? That's
Well,
what you're
again,
saying, like you have
we're not.
water
Yeah,
and
we're not talking about that you have to
yeah,
survive forever. And by the way, you know what? Um, uh, let's just say a worst case scenario. If you have water, you're just going on a water fast for a couple of weeks. You might spend the first 3, 4, 5 days clearing out the pantry and like that. You'll get the old oatmeal and cook it up. The refrigerator isn't going to, keep the food cold. So you might want to drink up the milk the first day or so or whatever. But a very
well, this isn't
survivable
and
thing.
this isn't anything new either. One, you've been saying it for a long time, and many of us have been preparing for a long time. So yeah, this is nothing new. Everybody that Juan is telling us, but he's saying it's coming. It's here. I'm
Well,
sorry.
but
Go ahead.
there's a lot of people within even the patriot community that they want to they need the drama, the whatever, so they scare the living daylights out of people.
Yep.
Look,
Yep.
you can make it in an absolutely worst case scenario. You can make it a couple of weeks without food. You just have to have water.
Right.
A water fast might clear your mind. Your relatives that aren't listening to you right now,
Get all those
uh,
parasites out.
yeah, get the parasites out and like that. Some of those things don't come out until you've had a 30-day fast or something. Okay, but the reality is that's a come to Jesus moment, right? I mean, I laugh about it a little bit. I'm not making light of it completely. I know, some people are very fragile, vulnerable, and
Yes.
what I would hope is that within this audience, you'll be the head, not the tail. That when everything's coming off the rails and people are, all the fear mongering and everything, which the devil feeds off of their fear. He wants them to live in fear. That gives him power and control over them. That you'll be the ones that have something extra out of the pantry, carry a couple of the neighbors through and all that, and to bear with it the good news. Hey, this is not the end of the world. This isn't going to go on forever. This is, relatively brief. We're all getting through this together. If it's a couple weeks of high drama, we'll come together. Let me just say this. So for example, I've got this event that we're doing here in Vegas in a couple days. It's a team building event in the sense that I have a number of very disparate groups of people that are all showing up here. Their own kind of community, and they're very appropriately so. They're owning their turf. So you have these superstars within kind of their own zones in the Patriot community. But to get to the end, everybody has to work together. That we have several people that on their own could own the whole day on a conference like this. But that ultimately doesn't work for us as a country. So I need these different people that are very influential within their own zones to be able to collaborate, close ranks, fill gaps that may have developed over the last couple of years in various places. We work together at this point, and this is a team. And I would say that out to this audience and out into the rest of the Patriot community. Either we hang together or we hang separately. And this is that hang together moment. Very powerful folks bring varied audiences together, and we're going to get through this together. We're going to survive this together. We're going to, if there's somebody that's a little weaker within the crowd, maybe I can get by for a week or two on a water fast. But maybe grandma or grandpa or small children, that's just not appropriate. So we take some off of our plate, maybe everything off our plate, keep them going through this drama. It's part of getting through this together. I'll tell you this. When the Pilgrims came here to Plymouth Rock, they were out of season. It was, they had left later than they intended to. There was no growth thing. They didn't have enough food. And they were helped by an Indian who actually had been a slave in England and come back to America to find his family, and they were all dead. But they didn't have enough food. So he found a pot, Sacagawea. He found a pot where they would bury corn to plant the next season that had never been pulled out of, to be planted. It was probably a couple of years old, but it was preserved in a certain way. And it was just corn kernels that were seed, dried up. He found that pot, brought it to the Pilgrims, and they counted it out, divided it up, decided that there was enough for 5 kernels of corn a day for everybody that was there in the Mayflower. And for the next several months, they lived on till the first green sprouts showed up in the spring. They lived on 5 kernels of corn a day. The youngest to the oldest, the smallest child to every adult, got 5 kernels of corn a day. 5 is the number of grace, by the way, in Gematria, the language of numbers. There's an occult side to that, and there's a scriptural side. God does 40 days, 40 nights, 7 days to a week, 6 days he labored, the 7th day he rested. The Jubilee years, 7, a week of years, 7 years, 7 times 7, 49 years. Then the 50th year, 2 Jubilee years. Every 7th year, they wouldn't plant crops. They would let the land rest and lie fallow. Every Jubilee year, every week of years. In the 50th year, they'd do 2 years of the crops lying fallow, and then everything that was taken from them was restored. If you sold land to somebody else. You really just leased it. It came back to your family in the 50th year. Um, and by the way, that's what's coming on with this next year. It's a Jubilee year. That's why Trump did 49 days from May 17th to July 4th, including the final day, July 4th, 49 days. The 50th day starts on July 5th, and that begins a Jubilee year for America of getting everything back that was stolen from us, taken from us, sold off, getting it all back. It's a year. It's going to be epic till the following Flag Day year. And so, with all of that in mind, if they can get by on 5 kernels of corn a day for months, we can make it through a little drama here. And in fact, you can have some grace, exercise grace within your community, your family, and all that. You're the early adopters. You know, you've been expecting, anticipating what's about to happen.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be caught by surprise. And it doesn't go on for years. It's a brief window. It's like the VCR flashing 12. We hit the button, reset the clock. That's what's coming. And
it's what I tell my audience: short-term pain for long-term gain. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm not in any fear at all. I'm actually really excited because it's finally here.
And by the way, if they're packaged properly, vacuum sealed, cookies will make it a long time. And they have everything, flour, raisins, nuts, oatmeal, whatever, so anyway. And by the way, do you know where cookies came from?
No, where'd they come from, Juan? Because I know you love cookies.
Iran. Iran is the first recorded place where cookies came from, Persia.
I had no
And
idea.
they made little sandwiches that were called cookies. And I was there. And then, by the way, I was just telling Jen, so somebody brought this to my attention. Some people in the audience may know this. But I was thinking of getting out the safari wagon, with the rack on it, the wood grain sides, the classic that I've got. It's, safari wagon. and taking a trek over to, the Forbidden City, LA. With all the drama and everything else going on there. But I was thinking of taking the safari wagon over there because I understand there's a gas station over there. Now, gas is going to $10-12 a gallon in California because they've shut down the refineries.
That's
so
crazy.
you think of apocalypse, the Mad Max movies and all that, and gas wars and all that. Well, that's about to happen in California. So I'm thinking about we'll hide the jerry cans of gas in there somewhere. But diesel would be safer, but I don't have a diesel safari wagon. I got trucks. But we might hide the diesel under the bed of the truck there, but under the tarp. Anyway, I want to go over there. This gas station, they became geniuses. They can't sell enough gas to pay the bills. So they got an oven, and they are cooking Zookies, which are these special cookies, all organic, safe, blah, 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 the energy stuff. So they got these Zookies over there. And I'm thinking of going over and getting a case of Zookies and bringing them back and putting them into my, emergency safety backup kit. We'll be here at the Trump. We could open the windows if they open, but they don't, and throw cookies out to help keep everybody, viable in the apocalypse coming. But I'd have to go up on the roof, throw them off the roof.
Here's your 5 kernels of corn for the apocalypse in cookie form. That's funny.
It might be five chocolate chips, stuffed in the Zookie.
Well, I know you probably. How are you doing on time? I know you said an hour, but you've given us
I've got to get going because I've got something that I have to get done here, and I've got political meetings here shortly here with a couple of the candidates who won their primaries. Let me just say this to everybody here. We still have to continue the fight as though we're going all the way to the midterms. The people that Trump was invited to run by and the things. They don't telegraph everything clearly because then the enemies would know everything.
Right.
Exactly how this plays out over the next weeks and months has been gamed out extensively. Don't think there's not a plan, but that's not available for everybody to know. And the portal is closed. Nobody's getting access to hearing precisely exactly what's going on. How this plays out to the midterms and beyond is stuff that we'll learn along the way. We have to do our efforts between now and then as though we're going all the way up to the election at the midterms and fight through, including the revelations about election fraud and other categories, monetary fraud, things like that. That's why I'm doing the conferences. And we have to kind of be able to coordinate our thoughts together. That's what, the conference is not even fully about getting to hear the speakers, which you'll hear out across the country with the various hosts, internet hosts, rebroadcasting this live. It's also about the networking. When you get to come to a conference like this, I mean, the people that show up, they're power players in their own zones. I mean, it's like, over and over again. I mean, many of the people in the conference, even a majority within their own community, could host something that's equally as important at the local level, some of them at the national level. It's a powerful thing. We're a network of networks within the coalition, unauthorized.one. And that's what's building out is the networking. And so getting to be with other like-minded people, compare notes. I've got people with various specialties. I've got somebody coming in from a particular state that's in the middle of a huge federal action against them. And I said, well, so-and-so's coming here from this other state, and they're far advanced in exactly the thing that you have, but they could benefit because it makes it fresh. Their stuff happened 3-4 years ago. It shows that the agencies are still doing exactly the same thing. Vice versa, because these people have been at it very long time, very advanced in the court system. He may get some assistance in, tradecraft of how he presents what he's done, because these guys have gotten up through the courts in another federal district pretty far. And so that coordinating between, neither of them are speakers. They're both people with a lot of access, history, etc. Getting to network with similar people. We have probably real number out of the whole audience, about 70 lawyers that are showing up, that are just coming to hear what's going on as accountants, people from federal agencies. I've got people that interact with Trump daily that are going to be in attendance. You're shopping Sharp Pencil. It's $100 less if you buy it in the next 2 weeks for the end of the month. And the other thing is, by the way, we had sold out the Ahern, the Sahara Kitty Corner here at the Trump sold out for attendance on this. And then we have 2 other hotels that stepped up that will have rooms at very, very inexpensively. We've already, they've given us the contract. We'll sign it Monday. But for ultra inexpensive rooms, $29 a night. The other one's a little bit higher class hotel, $59 a night. I mean, that's just like nothing.
Wow, that's nice.
They have a resort tax here in Nevada that still adds $30 to it or whatever. But it's it's bullshit. But it's what it is. The hotels have no control over it. But those are pretty reasonable numbers, and when we're providing all of the meals on site and good meals, even the coffee and stuff like that, that makes it pretty affordable for people. I take some personal satisfaction trying to cut a very sharp pencil. I don't want people feeling gouged. Some of these I'm not do pleasantly, and then none of this tiered stuff. If you spend an extra $1,000, you can talk to the speaker. You come here, all of our speakers are going to be out there interacting with people, spending time sitting and breaking bread during the breaks. It's a different type of a conference. They're not sitting isolated in the green room. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And so very much a lot of interaction, a lot of access like that. And we have great security. I don't want to go into it, but in the zone of what the president has for the conference, so it's not minor. And so if you didn't get to make this one, that next one you got a little break. You're cutting a sharp pencil. Okay, well you can cut it sharper. It may very well sell out very, very so with what's going on. So anyway, that little bit of advertising. We do have over at Gumroad.
Oh, where'd you go? Sorry guys. What happened? Oh, there you are. You totally cut out.
Oh my gosh.
We
I was
lost
just going to say
picture
over
and
at
all. You're back.
all right. Allpatriots.gumroad.com. I got the Tina Peters coin over there, and I've got the Moon coin over there. Both great. Silver's moving again now. And then Jennifer's got some amazing stuff over at jennifermac.com. By the way, everybody's coming to the conference here. You'll see it this week. I gave, and it wasn't cheap, totes to everybody that's attending the conference. So their conference money didn't pay for it. I gave it as a gift. And a couple of things that are in that tote with my wife, Jennifer, from her site, jennifermac.com, we have Megador totes. And so everybody will get some, and I assume people will be wanting everybody to sign them and all that. It'll be fun. But and we'll probably do something similar but different. I actually have an idea what we want to do that's different for the September conference. That even with what you're paying, you're getting something better, than even. It's worth a lot more. I can tell you that the Ahern people said that they, didn't understand how we could not charge, $1,000 a person for the same stuff for all that we're doing. But that was their recommendation. We're cutting a really sharp pencil. I don't want people to feel like there is this tiered access just because you got money. We don't generally have vendors. However, the September one, I think we've come up with an arrangement where we're going to have vendors, but they're not right in the main hall. And so we're going to open it up for some vendors. This one, I've only allowed one vendor to come in, and it was just something that happened yesterday. And we made a little accommodation so that it wouldn't be disruptive to the conference, but they have something really neat within their product line that I thought was timely, and they've been great supporters of the unauthorized and coalition stuff. And so I gave one vendor that access, but I want to open it up to other vendors for this September event. And so, and again, they got to make a buck. Some of these things, gosh, the money these people charge just to let a vendor in, it doesn't make sense for them to even be there. So we're going to try to be very sharp pencil there too, but allow them to get to it like that. So anyway,
I know you got to go. Send me the info on the September one, because that gives me a little bit more time to schedule it with my business here.
September 10th.
Yeah, September 10th.
September 10th. We'll go right through 9/11, and there's a reason why. Let me just say this: the movie that we're showing, a trailer of the movie got loose in Brazil, which of course it's about the president of Brazil. Jim Caviezel's playing President Bolsonaro. A trailer that was kind of a jury-rigged version, not the official trailer, got leaked with some music in Brazil. I got calls. Did you put that out? No, I didn't.
Oh, We lost you. You know what? I think I saw someone put that out, and I saw your response to it that wasn't approved. Is that the one you're talking about? Where'd you go? Over on X?
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, that was not the official one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that. I saw your comment too that one wasn't
Yeah.
approved. So
But it
yeah,
got 5.5 million views in Brazil in 24 hours.
wow,
They're literally on the verge of civil war in Brazil over this movie. I'm actually not exaggerating.
wow,
Uh, and so they were going to release it in the theaters on 9/11, which for legal reasons allowed them a few weeks before the cutoff for things that have political impact within the Brazilian system. The powers that be literally sent teams out and collected all the paperwork at a couple of producers' houses, their family members like that, intimidated the crap out of them, like they were going to have them arrested any moment. And it's still a possibility. This movie is a big deal. Now, in this event that we're doing in September, this is an early version of the movie that we'll be doing a director's cut, and there's still some editing going on, so it'll be closer when we do the one in September to the final version that's going to go out to the theaters. But they've paused on a release date, so it'll still be before the main one, so the people that come to that event will get to see something amazing. And you'll be exclusively in those audiences that get to see this before the general release. So anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got to fly.
Well,
I
take
appreciate.
care, Juan. You have a great event, and thank you once again for your time. And again, we'll get you back on here. And if we have to do it on a weekend, this worked out great. So God bless you, my friend. We love you. Thank you for all your information. You are you're a true individual and warrior. So God bless you
Yeah,
guys.
it's a team effort. Let me just say a quick prayer because,
Yes.
again, people get very wound up. Fear can dominate. We're going to have drama. We're going to have drama. What's it going to be? This is a very harrowing moment that's coming for the country, a near-death experience level event, even out to the rest of the world. It's what's necessary to reset horrors that have been done within our country and within the world. That said, we don't live in fear. In advance things that should help you to mentally prepare, physically prepare, spiritually prepare, and not just for yourself, but for the people around you, so that you're the head and not the tail in
Amen.
this drama that's coming. Um, Grow up, fly right, take a deep breath, and don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. So let me say a prayer. Father God, I thank you for every person here. I thank you for the opportunity to discuss these things as adults within a very serious audience. I thank you that you have given this community the opportunity to be early adopters, to be part of the plan, to uh, join in step, working together, closing ranks, be part of saving America, not for our own personal gain solely or for some personal aggrandizement, but to be in step with your purposes, Father God, with the covenant that those people that came here first made with you, to be a people who are God minded, who have given their lives over to your service as our Father, our Creator, to your purposes. And we ask you for grace, for you to incline your ear, Father God, to our needs, our prayers, to help us to do that which you expect of us, to do your will, your way, to be about service to you in the way that our forefathers and sisters and mothers did all the way back to Plymouth. Even if we came from other countries after the fact, we came here to be adopted into this American family, to think and operate within a certain mindset. We pray for blessing, Father, that we might be a blessing, that you would fill our cup, not just for our own self, but to then be able to pour it out in service before you to help others to get through this as they come awake out of the coma that we're in as a nation. To not just save America, but to save the world and be our brother's brothers, not our brother's keeper. I ask you to make personal provision for each person in this audience, that they would have an upwelling of faith in their heart, their soul, to be able to look to you for whatever supply they need, not just for themselves, but for their household and for the people in their community around them. That they would be a beacon of light in these dark moments to come. And that on the far side of it, that would be remembered, that they would be seen as the leaders, taking up the baton and moving forward for us as a country to get to get back on track with your divine purposes, your will, your way, and your supply accordingly. I pray that you would protect each person here present today in this audience from every attack of the devil, that these people here would have a mind in accordance with the mind of Christ, with your provision, Father God. Quench every arrow that the devil would fire at them to cause fear, to cause them to waver. Every attack on their faith, their trust in you, Father God. I pray that you would strengthen everyone, give them perfect, full provision, a sound mind to be able to distribute whatever you may give them according to your will, to bring those around them along as we go through this dark night ahead of us. We know that you are the one that will carry us through. If we survive, it's because of your hand. And that's the history of the world, that you govern in the affairs of men. And we pray that you would govern in our lives and in the affairs nationally of this people as we come through this dark night ahead. And that on the far side of that, in the dawn of this next period, that there would be a community understanding, an individual understanding, a household understanding, that but for the grace of God, none of us would have made it through. And that our actions moving forward as a people, as a nation, would reflect that we are survivors by your grace, Father God. And then we help others around us because you've been graceful with us. We become carriers, pivoting, pouring out grace on others around us, that our cup will be full, and we will pour it out and get it refilled again according to your will, Father God. We thank you for allowing us to live in this moment in history, this place and time, this place on the planet, the families we were born into, the communities we find ourselves residing in, that we're planted exactly where you want us for whatever your purposes are, and that we will bloom, we will bear fruit,